everyone, Miss GoElectric here. When I reviewed the Aventon Soltera.3, I had three main opportunities for improvement. The first one was that I would like to see hydraulic brakes instead of mechanical brakes. The second was that I did not like the shifter. And the third opportunity was it was a little bit too heavy. But Aventon does not stand still, and they have addressed all of those opportunities for improvement and then some with this here, the Soltera.3. So I'm excited to be able to take this and ride it around downtown today and find out if this is the perfect city road bike. The Aventon Soltera.3 is shipped as a Class 1 e-bike, which means the motor can help propel the bike to speeds up to 20 miles per hour while pedaling. There is no throttle option or compatibility. The rear hub motor can deliver 250 watts continuous power and peak power of 500 watts for a maximum of 40 Newton meters of torque. Dual torque sensors measure the rider's pedal force position for smooth assistance matching. The UL2271 safety certified frame integrated battery operates at 36.9 volts with a capacity of 9.94 amp hours. That is equivalent to 366.8 watt hours. The battery is not removable but can be charged through the port on the side of the down tube. The bike comes with a 4 amp charger, which should deliver a full charge in about 2.5 hours. Aventon advertises a maximum range of 70 miles. New for 2026, Aventon has introduced trim levels starting with the Soltera.3. The bike we tested shows a trim level called ADV, which stands for Adventure. It is one level up from the base trim level. Aventon has not yet indicated what higher trim levels might become available at a later date or how they might differ. The Soltera.3 is built on a step-over frame with 3 available paint options including matte black, matte storm blue, and sterling silver like the one I have here. The aluminum frame is offered in 4 frame sizes. The small frame is intended for riders between 5'1" to 5'5" inches. The medium frame accommodates riders between 5'5" to 5'9" inches. The large frame seen here can fit riders between 5'9" inches to 6'1" inches, and the extra large frame suits riders between 6'1" inches to 6'4" inches. The bike is IPX rated for water resistance. The Soltera.3 weighs just 37 pounds and can support a total maximum payload capacity of 300 pounds. This model includes Tektro hydraulic disc brakes with 180mm rotors. The single-speed drivetrain is equipped with a Gates carbon belt. The aluminum front fork is rigid and the Kenda tires are 700 by 38C with a smooth tread. The color display includes a USB-C port which can supply electricity from the e-bike's battery to charge mobile devices and more. The integrated headlight and taillights with turn signals are standard features, but there are no active brake lights because this bike has no e-cutoff linked to the levers. This bike does not include fenders, a rear rack, or a bell or horn. Aventon has a wide variety of optional accessories available on their website. The Aventon app is among my favorites in the industry. It allows riders to remotely adjust granular ride settings in each pedal assist mode through the Ride Tune feature, including creating individual cloud-based profiles. The app can also record rides and allows users to engage with the enormous community of Aventon owners. Soltera.3 owners get Aventon's comprehensive 2-year warranty and the benefits of one of the largest dealer networks of any direct-to-consumer e-bike brand with over 1,800 bike shop locations. If you have an Aventon retailer nearby, they can assemble and tune the bike for delivery, make test drives possible, and deliver warranty service. So those specifications and features are as good as it gets in this price point in this category on paper, but now it's time to see how it performs on the road. Now this here is my Unit 1 helmet. It is my favorite helmet, and the reason for that is because it has so many features. The integrated front and rear lights here also function as turn signals. The rear light also brightens when braking or decelerating. Those features enhance rider visibility and safety while riding. My favorite feature is the crash detection system. Sensors in the helmet communicate with the Unit 1 mobile app to send an SOS message to your emergency contact if you crash and are unresponsive to a safety check. The helmet has a magnetic brim, which accommodates this default visor, or optional magnetic lenses, including this one, which dynamically transitions tint levels with up to 100% UV protection in dynamic lighting environments while riding. This helmet has several safety certifications, including MIPS, and is designed to protect e-bike riders traveling up to 28 miles per hour. Plus, I think Unit 1 helmets, backpacks, and other accessories look awesome. Well, I'm definitely gonna need my transition lenses today, so let's get out and start riding. All right, so I'm gonna start off this ride as I do with many of my rides, and that is with no assistance on. This is such a lightweight bike. I'm so happy that they were able to kind of trim the fat from the previous version. Now, one huge difference is that this is a single speed now instead of having a 7-speed shifter. So that means since I don't have a shifter, I have a nice quiet Gates carbon belt, which I absolutely love that. But that means that going up hills like this, I don't have the ability to change gears. And so instead I would just adjust my pedal assistance. Now, this is so lightweight that I could actually go like this for a little while, so it doesn't bother me. The thing that I also like about what Aventon has done with this bike is really differentiate it more than the previous generation. It was more like a commuter style, whereas this one is more like a lightweight road bike that is more fitness oriented. I'm in this first pedal assistance mode now, this eco mode, and it is quite mild, but man, I'll tell you, this thing is silent. The motor is much quieter than the previous version, and that belt is extremely quiet. Once this light turns green, I'm gonna bump it up into the higher assistance modes. Now, this only has 3 modes now, so there's Eco, Sport, and Turbo. This one in particular is the ADV, the Adventure. And so I feel like it sits just above that low-end trim and gives you a good balance of what most people just need for an everyday casual rider. So far in the Sport mode though, very smooth torque sensor, and great power delivery. These tires are so quiet too. They're very different than the previous version. They're a very efficient tread, you can tell. I have it on the default configurations. Of course, you can make those changes in the app with the ride tune, but it gets up to 20 really easy on these flat surfaces. I feel like this pavement is truly the most ideal environment for it because of the tires. They're very thin, very efficient. I wouldn't want to take this on any kind of gravel or anything like that. It really excels in this environment. I'll come up to the stop sign and then I'm going to use my turn signals actually. These brakes are amazing. Nice, powerful hydraulic. You don't have to pull too hard. Get you to come to a stop nice and easy. I'm gonna bump it up to this last turbo mode. But I'm hitting 20 miles per hour and I can definitely tell this turbo mode is giving me the most assistance. There's no bell on it either, excuse me, which the last one had a bell and I love that. But at least those are pretty affordable to purchase as a aftermarket item and attach it to the handlebars. The handlebars are straight too, which is very indicative of that fitness intent. Really happy with this performance though. I mean, this is so smooth and I absolutely love how silent this is. To be fair, I feel like a lot of people that would look at this bike wouldn't even recognize that it's an e-bike because of how svelte it looks.
and they always make really good looking bikes. Now, another thing that they used to offer was more of a step-through design, and so far all I've seen from them is a step over. And I do like that for people who don't want to sling their leg over as far to get on and off the bike. So hopefully they'll offer some sort of a lower secondary down tube to get on and off the bike a little bit easier. All right, so let's head back and I'll share my final thoughts on the Aventon Soltera 3. Well, it is an absolutely perfect day out here. I mean, I am loving this because I'm from Michigan and I'm used to not being able to do bike reviews at this time of year, but it is gorgeous out and I'm glad to be able to ride this around all day. Now, as you know, I always end these videos with 3 opportunities for improvement and 3 things that I truly love about the bikes. And so we're gonna kick it off with the opportunities for improvement. This first one, for me, has to be anti-theft. So just like the previous generation, I was really hoping to see that they would integrate the ACU or the Aventon Control Unit, which would enable a lot of those anti-theft features. That would include things like GPS location tracking, geo-fencing the bike so it can only operate in certain areas, and maybe even locking out the wheel so that nobody can roll away with this bike. Now, they have made some improvements to anti-theft over the previous generation by making it very difficult to steal the seat post, the front wheel, and impossible to take the battery. The next opportunity for improvement has to be the elimination of the throttle from the previous generation. I absolutely loved it when this bike had a throttle, and I understand why they are doing it because a Class 1 bike can be compliant basically everywhere. When you put a throttle on, then it turns into a Class 2 bike. So then you have some restrictions there. Now, it may be that you can buy a throttle for like $15 like some of the other Aventons. There are some ports on the back of the computer that are open. So if that's the case, I'll actually include that in the description below or on screen to let you guys know. Now, the third opportunity for improvement has to be the price point. This is listed at $14.99, and there are some competitors out there that have a lot of the same features and are listed for several $100s less. Now, just because the competitive bikes have comparable specs, that does not mean that the ownership experience is going to be the same. And Aventon is very well known as a high volume brand, so easier to get parts. They have a huge dealer network with great service all over the place. So the ownership experience is definitely something to consider as well. And that brings me to the top 3 attributes that I love about the Soltera 3. The first one has to be the level of refinement. This frame is absolutely gorgeous, not only with the paint finish, but how the welds are blended out so smoothly. And the previous generation had kind of crazy cable management, and they've done a great job of simplifying it and making it very elegant. And the refinement doesn't stop at the build quality, it also is with the powertrain. This is so smooth, and I loved how quiet it was from the Gates carbon belt and even the motor operation. And it will stay refined because the last iteration had mechanical brakes and a derailleur, so those constantly needed adjusting, whereas this now has hydraulic brakes and a Gates carbon belt, which means that it virtually will never need maintenance. Now, the second top attribute for this bike has to be the ownership experience. Now, this category in specific is not only very competitive, but it's full of really great bikes, and you really have to dig in deep to find the differentiators on which make them a great bike. Now, the Aventon ownership experience includes things like an expansive dealer network where they have not only a ton of retail locations for you to buy a bike in store that's already built, but also the service and maintenance element of that. They also have an incredible app, and not only can you make adjustments to the settings of the bike and get firmware updates, but you can also tap into the Aventon community there of other people that own Aventons, and they give advice and share their experiences on the bikes as well. They also have tutorials and a live map feature so you can see where you are and where you're going, and you can record rides. And Aventon is so big that they have great parts availability and they have a good 2-year warranty. Now, the third and final top attribute I see here is the geometry of the bike. And what I mean by that is that many competitors offer the same rider height range, but they usually do it with 1 or 2 different frame sizes, which means that the rider might not be able to get the most comfortable fit. There are 4 different frame sizes, and so anybody can get on this bike that's from 5'1" to 6'4" and find the most comfortable fit for them. Well, I hope you all found this review of the Aventon Soltera 3 helpful, and we'll put a link to this with a discount code down below in the description if you want to learn even more about it. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, drive, fly, ride. Go electric.